Welcome back to practice. Today's hour-long flow class is preparation and mobility work to get us into eagle pose. For this practice, you'll want a strap and a couple of yoga blocks, and we'll begin lying on our backs. And then invite a regulated breath, so a breath that you are conscious of the way that you draw it into the body and the rib cage and the belly expand. And as you breathe out, knowing you're breathing out. So we put some intention behind the rhythm of the breath. And in terms of this question that was posed on that post, aren't you worth it? Yes. You were worth it before you even decided to get on your mat. You are worth it now. You'll be worth it after. You'll be worth it tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. Regardless of the postures that you get into or get out of. Come to a bent kneed position so that you can bring a little more grounding to the lower back. And bring your hands to the sides of your rib cage. So you wrap the fingers around the rib cage. And breathe generously into the ribs. Feeling that sense of the rib cage growing as you inhale. And shrinking as you exhale. And stay with low back somewhat grounded into the floor, rib cage expanding, contracting. Reach over, find your yoga strap from wherever it is, and unwind it. Hook it around your right foot into the arch of the foot. And send your leg up towards the ceiling. It can be straight or mostly straight. Climb your right hand high up the strap. And then put some strap slack. So you're going to pull your hand down by just a couple of inches, right? Not bending your elbow, and then lower your left leg long along your yoga mat. Practice pointing your right toes and then flexing your right toes with a little tension on the line of your strap. And see if you can connect with, well, when I flex my toes towards me, I can feel an opening through calf and Achilles. And when I point my toes away from me, I can feel a strengthening in the calf and the Achilles. Then go to a moderately flexed foot. Start to lower your leg without bending your elbow. So you're putting slack in the line until your leg is almost to the ground. It's hovering about an inch above. And you've got this traction of the hand and arm pulling on the strap, but the leg reaching away from you. So there's a tight line from the shoulder to the heel. Then raise your right arm up, bring your leg with you. Do that with an inhale if you can. And then exhale, go back to long arm, long leg, feeling them almost as one thing, like one continuous strong line. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, lower down until you feel the tension line from shoulder to heel. So if you bend your elbow, you'll break the tension line. So keep arms straight as you do this movement. One more time, up and over. And one more time, down with the tension line from the shoulder to the sole of the foot, reaching out through the heel. Raise your arm up, raise your leg up, and then stick your left foot in that strap. Set your right leg free. Move strap to be held in left hand only. Climb the hand up, put a little slack in the line so that you can do the pointing and flexing experience. And just letting our awareness set on the calf and the back of the ankle as we do the pointing and flexing. Coming to that moderately flexed foot position, and then giving slack to the line. So the leg lowers down, but the arm remains straight. And you stop when you can feel that strong line from outer left shoulder out through the heel of the left foot. And then begin to move with the breath. Inhale, reach up and over. Exhale, bring it back down until you find the long line of traction or tension. And again, you'll lose the line if you bend your elbow. So you're maintaining straight limbs along the left-hand side of the body. Then lower the arm, lower the leg, find the traction line. And then reach the leg back up to the ceiling. Now put your other foot in the strap and bring that strap more towards your heels than your arches. And then climb your hands up the strap. And you'll lower the legs at same rate, same time, until they are hovering about an inch off the floor. And you're pulling your arms against the tension of the strap. And the heels are reaching down, and the crown of your head is reaching up, and your feet are flexed, and your legs are strong. Shoulders are right in the side plane, and getting a sense for the traction work that it takes to express Tadasana. Okay. So that reaching of heels away, reaching of crown away. And that level of engagement in the legs to maintain them strong and straight. Take one more breath with that. Rib cage pulled down, so you haven't bowed in your lower back. And then relax your hands, relax your feet. Pull that strap off to the side. We'll come back to it later. Bend your knees. Raise one arm. Roll to that side. Then press yourself up. And let's meet in Tadasana or mountain pose at the front of the yoga mat. And so we have a residue of what we were just doing on our back. We have a residue of it in our body mind. Right? So you can recreate that feeling of strong legs where the heels actively reach into the residual strap. And the arms are long and strong, shoulders in the side plane, rib cage drawn back as if there is a ground underneath you. From Tadasana, exhale everything. Keep the heels reaching down. Inhale, reach the arms up. So there's traction in that. Exhale, bow forward. As you inhale and half lift, lengthen the spine, just like you do in mountain pose. Heels reach down, crown reaches away. Exhale, step to plank. And take a couple breaths in plank pose. Imagine strap hooked to heels. They're reaching one way. Crown of the head is reaching the other. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, lower the knees, and then come forward and down, bending the elbows. Make your legs strong and heavy. Untuck your toes. Inhale, push forward through the hands as you curl up into cobra pose. And exhale, bring your chest back to the ground. On the next cobra, drag backwards through your hands and inhale, cobra. Exhale, bring your chest back to the floor. Then do whichever one resonated more for you. Push forward or pull back. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, chest to the ground. Tuck the toes under. You can bring seat to heels, stretching open through the fascia of the feet. And then raise the center of gravity, raise the hips up and back into that first downward facing dog pose. And become aware of the opposing forces in downward dog. How the hands strike down and reach forward. The thigh bones pull back, heels descending. Take a deep breath all the way in, so feeling circumferential expansion in the ribs. As you exhale, the rib cage shrinks. Crouch, look forward. Inhale, step, step, or lightly jump, feet to hands. Keep inhaling, lift halfway, heels reaching down, crown reaching forward. And exhale, fold in. Inhale, reach up, press through the heel skin, reach the arms. Exhale, return to mountain pose. In mountain, just stay a moment, recreate all the tight lines, right? Or the strong lines you had when you had the strap. Right? It's still the residual, the resonance of that is still in the body. Exhale everything. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, step back, and keep exhaling lower down. It could be the knees first or chaturanga. Then inhale, cobra, or maybe now it's upward dog. Exhale, push floor, hips back, downward facing dog. Find the opposing forces in down dog that help you to lengthen all the things, arms, legs, spine. So I'm mentioning this shrinking of the rib cage as we exhale, because at the bottom of the exhale, when there is that emptiness, the gathering of the abdominal muscles inward, there's a bit of strength to be cultivated down there. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale and crouch, rib cage shrinks. Inhale, step or jump. Half lift. Exhale, fold. Firm the heels. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, release back to Tadasana. Then take a wide step back on right or left leg so you have the entire length of your mat to play with or to work with. Have the strap nearby. We don't need it yet, but have it ready for when we want to grab it. And open your legs how you'd like them for Utthita Trikonasana. And then take your hands to your thighs and like pull up on your thighs. Like use your fingers like little tactile feedback, like scratchers or spiders to tell you like, hey, thighs, brace upward to lift the kneecaps, right? And as you brace your thighs upward, your buttocks gets heavy in the downward direction. Then turn your right foot out, turn your left foot in. Raise your arms until you feel the tops of the shoulders get steady and strong. Keep the work of the legs, that drawing up into the pelvis, and reach away. So the legs are your roots. And send your bottom hand down beneath you somewhere. Block, ankle, shin, and upper arm to the sky. And then eye gaze, the more traditional one is up towards the reaching thumb. But there are some days when a looking forward is fantastic or a looking down feels amazing. So play with it. Keep the bracing of the thighs, right? So that drawing up pattern into the hips. Press down into the feet. Inhale, come up to standing. As you exhale, pivot, pivot, right foot in, left foot out. You recreate. And then with intention, forward, away, and then down into it. And root your legs. Use breath in to come all the way up to standing. Bring your hands to hips, all 10 toes now facing. The feet are parallel. Get a little bigger in your stance so you're heel toeing out some. Keep your hands on your hips or your waist. Dig into your right heel. Spin your right toes to point out. So external rotation in the right leg. And then bend the knee enough to lift the heel of your right foot. So you're on the toes and the toe mounds, and stay on the toes and toe mounds so you're keeping the calf engaged, and straighten and bend the leg. So notice that when you have a straight leg, how your calf is pushing your shin forward, but your thigh is pulling your top thigh back, right? So think shin forward, thigh back. And then go into roughly like knee over heel. And if you're like, I can't stand it, I gotta put my heel on the floor, put your heel on the floor. Or express warrior two with a little pump on, a little chunky heel. Then straighten front leg. Turn your feet right toes in, left toes out. Go back to wearing your espadrille, or your chunky heel, and then in and out of the lunging. Getting a sense for when I straighten, the calf muscle is pushing my shin forward. The thigh muscle is pulling my thigh back, or my thigh bone back. And then into Vira 2 with the heel up or down. So choose. Maybe you start with it up and decide it's going to have to go down at some point. Release the heel, straighten the leg. Pivot so all 10 toes face the same direction. Grab your strap. We're going to play some strap games before we forward fold. So my strap's super long. I'm just going to fold it in half a couple of times so it's more manageable. And then hold it so it's roughly like outer shoulders, like your arms will be like a V. And try to do your best not to white knuckle grip it. Just hold it and put some tension on the line of it. And thighs are drawing up, buttocks is moving down. And then start to bring the strap into the front plane of view. And then overhead and maybe a little into the back plane of view. And so I really want you to pay attention. If you have any shoulder things going on, keep your range of motion pretty shallow. And start to add overhead, bent elbows, strap behind the neck, back up, and in front. So we're making the movement just a little bit more complex. We're asking more muscles to participate in. And go back to overhead or a little bit behind overhead and do just one and then the other, maybe alternating that. So feeling some warmth, some awakening happening in the upper back. Opening through the collarbone and the chest. And then go back up. Then let go of one side, reach behind you, grab. So with that grip of shoulder extension, tug the edges of your strap apart. You may only be at shoulder's distance or even a little narrower now. Draw the arm bones back. Take a breath in, lift chest and eyes. Exhale, fold over. Take your strap for a ride over your head. Angle the crown of your head towards the floor. And you could stay in this forward fold on wide legs, or you can stay folded but start to add some rotation where your chest spins towards the right foot and then the left foot. You could also lift up by about halfway and add that rotation. That's an interesting way to experience some new sensation. If you're lifted halfway, go back into that forward fold. Together, exhale everything. Inhale, come to standing. And then lose your lasso, lose your strap, put it off to the side. Go back to horizontal reach of the arms. The thighs are drawing up. The buttocks is heavy down. Turn your right foot out. Bend your right knee. Extended side angle, elbow to thigh or hand to floor. Top arm kind of swirls overhead, reaching. Breathing here. And use exhale, look down, inhale, rise to stand. Switch the feet, switch the pose, other way, draw up with the thighs, down with the buttocks, add the lunge, extended side angle, reach, right side body. And then release, right hand, left hand, step back, downward facing dog pose. And from down dog together, come down to your hands and your knees, tabletop. Step your right foot forward and through in between your hands. And then sit back onto your left heel, or take a yoga block, put it underneath you, and sit back on that block as a perch or a stool. Right heel slides really far in, so it's essentially underneath your right sit bone or pretty close to the block if you're sitting on a block. So we have this angle of the thigh and the shin forward, right? Wrap your arm around your leg with the right one, then the left one. Keep your heel pressing down. So remember how we reach the heel down into the strap? Create that effect and go forward with your shin. Your butt may even lift off the block if you're sitting on it. So as you ride your shin forward, you keep your heel pressing down and you're increasing the angle at the front of your ankle. Take a few breaths with a lot of weight driving forward, but a lot of weight bearing back into the heel skin. Then ease off, so coming back to tabletop, block off to the side. If you used one, switch your legs, left foot through. Sit back on the right heel or sit back on the block. Drag your left heel in really close underneath your sit bone or right up to the block edge. You have that angle of the shin, the diagonal angle of shin and thigh forward. Wrap your arms, give your legs a little embrace. Root the heel. Ride the shin forward. So you're making the crease at the front of your left ankle, or the wrinkles or the ripples, you're making them deeper, or you're making more of them on purpose. Drive the heel, reach the shin forward. Don't let the heel lift, even though it might get a little light. Then lean back, take the pressure off. Move the block out of the way. Come back to table, swing your shins around, and lay on your back with your block handy to you. When you get on the back body, just like I had you do in the very beginning of class, draw your rib cage down so you feel as if you've shrink wrapped some of your abdominal muscles, bracing around the spine. Then lift your legs to tabletop. Take your yoga block, put it in between your knees, and squeeze it. And we'll practice a little bit of internal rotation. So the name of the game here is don't let your rib cage lift. Keep squeezing the block with your inner knees, but pull your shins apart from each other so they create like a V. So you internally rotate your thigh bones. Inseam of your pants spins in and back. And then bring your legs back together. Do this several times, nice and slow. You get a sense for, okay, what is the musculature that's helping me to create internal rotation? So we're coming out and we're going back into that internal. And then next time you go in, where you pull your feet wide, right? Imagine there is a wall outside of your right foot and a wall outside of your left foot, and you're pressing your feet out against those walls and holding that internal rotation. Rib cage down, keep breathing. Then zip your legs back together. Lose the block, put your feet on the floor. And take your arms to the ceiling. Hook your right arm underneath your left arm, so taking the eagle's wrap or the eagle's wings. And can you maintain the eagle's wings? Lift your legs more towards tabletop. Lift your shins a little higher and wrap right leg over left, so creating eagle's legs. You could stay here, exploring this eagle. You could pull your knees back towards your elbows, or you could curl your head, neck, shoulder blades off the floor so that the right elbow meets the right knee. Rib cage back and down. Lengthen the upper back a little bit. One more breath. If you came up, if you curled up, head, neck, shoulders to the floor, unwind the arms, unwind the legs, and then just be for a couple of breaths. So who knew that eagle on the back could feel like that? This like helixing around ourselves, wrapping around ourselves. There's internal rotation of the thigh happening. There's external rotation of the thigh happening. There's rib cage bracing happening. There's upper back opening happening. Let's try the other side, arms to sky. And left under right, create the eagle's wings. When you did that, did you lose rib cage down? Now knees raise. Now legs start to straighten enough that you can wrap left over right to create the lower body of eagle. Stay there, option. Or bring the knees towards the elbows, so you pull the legs in towards you, or you peel up and touch elbow to knee. One more breath. Unwind upper body first, then lower body. So let's let the residue of doing this supine, let's let it stick, and let's practice doing it standing while we still have the residue. So crisscross ankles, rock yourself gently up to seated. Go to downward facing dog. And then walk the hands backwards towards the feet. Press into the heels and inhale, reach all the way up. Exhaling back to Tadasana, arms by your sides. Bring your feet in close, so just like we had the inner knees touching against the block, we're narrowing the distance between the legs. Sit down a little bit. So you're creating that bent knee, but still having a mostly straightened leg. Take right arm under left. Create the eagle's wings. Cross, so you got to put weight into the left foot. Shins go way forward. We worked that angle in the ankles. Right leg crosses over left. Maybe the toes wrap around the calf. And you can stay tall and more vertical. Or instead of bringing your knees to you, your hips go back, so you start to bring the upper body to the knees. Maybe there's a going forward, ribs back to connect, elbow to knee. Breathing in that shape. And it's a weird one. There's so many crisscrosses happening. Generously into the rib cage, breathe. If you've got elbow tacked to knee, disconnect, get more vertical. Unwind the arms, unwind the legs. Come back to standing. Take a couple of breaths. And creating the other side, so the knees bend, they go forward. So that those creases at the front of the ankles, we did that work. It's serving us here. Left arm hooks under the right. Left leg wraps over the right. Stay or vary by hip hinging, bringing yourself closer to the legs. Stay or A little ribs back as you draw the elbow to the knee. Breathe generously into the rib cage. If you're connected elbow to knee, lift more vertical. Unwind the arms, unwind the legs. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, walk out to plank pose. Then breathe in, draw the back of the heart up. Exhale, lower down all the way to the floor. Untuck your toes. Prop yourself up in Sphinx pose so the elbows are right underneath your body. Make your legs heavy like cement. Press the tops of your feet into the ground. And then with your mind's eye, locate the gathering point of the bottom tips of your shoulder blades so that you can't see it because you don't have eyes on the back of your head, but you can feel it. You become aware. And the bottom tips of the shoulder blades where they collect, can you send that part of your back forward as you draw your elbows and your armpits backward? So you're feeling the valley or the curvature in the upper back. Breathe into that. Legs heavy like anvils on the floor. Relax that effort of bottom tips of shoulder blades reaching forward. Go to straight arms. Hands pushing away from you for now. Okay. Chest is raised. Again, with your awareness, go into that space where the bottom tips of the shoulder blades collect together. Start to drag your hands backwards, armpits backwards. Send that part of the back forward, chin forward. Keep the legs heavy. Pubic bone might be even pressing into the ground. Relax that effort. Walk your hands back an entire handprint. Push the floor away. So you're getting a little bit more into this higher up cobra position. Legs like anvils, pubic bone presses, back of the heart forward, armpits backwards. Breathe. Then release back down to Sphinx, lower the elbows. So I'll invite you to do one more of that where your elbows are raised off the floor. So it's a high cobra position. Or I'm going to invite you to go into the high cobra and walk your arms back a little bit more, but you're maintaining the high cobra position. So we'll go in together, press the hands away, lift the spine up. So exploring this high cobra, or walk your hands back. Right? So they are basically beneath your breast tissue, beneath maybe even that top rib, the floating rib. Push the ground, push the legs, back of the heart forward, chin raised, upward dog. Armpits pull back, chest goes forward, chin goes up. As you exhale, find your way back, downward facing. Together, let's come into child's pose or puppy. Right, so if the knees, joints don't like to be closed in child's pose, you can take puppy pose, which is a way to recoup without putting pressure on the knees in that way. And breathe generously into your lower back. Rise up through tabletop. Swing your legs around you, extend them out in front of you. And I want to try something together. So, can you make a loop of your strap that goes from the bottom of your shoulder blades, so think about that area that we were sending forward in that high cobra, to your feet. So you're going to make a big loop of your strap. Bottom of the shoulder blades to the feet. And you don't want to be, when you go to tie your strap, you don't want to be folded all the way over in Paschimottanasana. Think like spine on a high diagonal line. Right? So there's the hinge happening, but I haven't folded over because I want to be able to maintain some tension in the line of my strap. So yeah, strap tying 101. I don't know what you're working with out there, but I've got the D lock system. So I have to go through and then double back to create. Right? Maybe you have a click one, which is amazing. I wish I had some click ones. So you're creating this like almost Paschimottanasana. Not quite vertical in Dandasana. There's a little bit of forward that has happened through the spine. And then explore, hands beside you or fingertips down, and explore ribs drawing back into that strap, reaching out through the heels, reaching up through the crown of your head. So like a very supported 1/4 of the way into Paschimottanasana. I love where the strap is placed because you can breathe generously into your rib cage. And just for the sake of trying, bend your knees a little. Start to hold the edge of your strap, lean back, and then send your legs up so you're in this fully supported Navasana type position. You can use your fingertips on the ground, or you could reach your arms. So you got to lean back enough, but let your legs help you, right? Create your tension lines. It's like kind of a balancing act. And then those of you that want to try this, put your hands down, shift forward, lift your butt off the floor. So you're in an L sit. Sit back down. Can you go back towards that supported Navasana? That one's worthy of trying a couple of times. Right? So get the adjustment of ribs back, heels reaching away. The hands won't go beside your hips. They're going to go in front of your hips. You lean forward and lift. Yeah. And then sit down. Take your strap off, unwind, unhook yourself. And then inhale, reach up. Exhale, go into it. Paschimottanasana, folding out and over and forward and downward. And enjoy this back body opener. Use in-breath to lengthen and exhale to rise. Take your legs wide, having explored that long, wide-legged forward fold. So you can open sideways on your mat, or you can open long ways on your mat. And do that same work of reaching up and folding forward. So keep length as best you can. Eventually, the upper back's going to start to round. That is the nature of a forward bend. Keep the low back long. So maybe you don't go all the way up and over. You might be more sitting up. Engagement of the legs here. It's just like the standing up version. The thighs are drawing up. The knees are drawing up. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, come all the way up. Zip your legs together. Make your way onto your back. Supine, knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor. Take your arms wide like a T. Heel toe your feet to the outer edges of your mat. Take your right knee, turn it in and down. Big internal rotation like half windshield wiper. Then turn it into sleeper pose where you hook the outside of the left ankle along the outer right knee at the crease. And you turn it into a twist, right ear to the floor. Bring the head center. Unwind the legs, set them both wide, knees up towards the sky. Big internal of the left, so you let that leg fall into like half a windshield wiper. Pick up right ankle, hook it on the outside of the left knee. Roll the left ear to the ground. Bring your head to center, unhook the top leg. Gather your knees in for either a hug and then Ananda Balasana or happy baby pose. And then right and left rocking, whether you're hugging the knees or in happy baby, bring some stimulation to the kidneys back there. Finding center, draw the feet in, let the legs go. Coming into the final posture, Shavasana. And keep the watery quality of the body, but invite a deeper breath in and a deeper breath out. And then glide your right arm up and over the head. Bend your knees one at a time. Rolling onto the side. And press down into the ground. Lift yourself to a seat. Close your eyes. Join your hands. And may the merits of the practice that we've done here today benefit all beings everywhere. Namaste.